You're tuned to Mondays with Meleti here on Grecian Echoes, the longest-running Greek-American radio broadcast program in the country. I have a very special guest joining us this morning by telephone. He had produced a Greek-American TV program in San Francisco, a program which originally began in 1982, as I understand, but we're going to get the story from him, as he had joined, I believe, in 1985. Grecian Spotlight TV, a historic program now that ran for over 25 years and then became Greek TV, ran on KTSF Channel 26 in San Francisco. And very pleased to have with me this morning Dimitri Carapanos. Kalimera, Dimitri.
Kalimera, Meleti. Good morning, and thank you for the invitation.
Good morning.
Kalimera σε όλους όσους μας ακούν αυτή τη στιγμή.
It's very early for you there, is it not?
It is, but it's a special occasion. It's worth my waking up early, and of course, I had my double Greek coffee, sketo, so I'm feeling good. I'm ready.
That's great. That's wonderful, Dimitri. Well, first I'd like to tell the audience how we met because, if nothing else, Facebook can do wonderful things in bringing people together. I remember I received a collection with a videotape that was unmarked, and I was transferring the videotape, and it looked to be a Greek program from the West Coast. Our friend Frosine Phillips had then, I think, reached out to you at that point.
Exactly.
And what happened from there?
Well, she did, and then I read about it, and I found out that the program that we're talking about is one from 1993 to 1996. I don't remember the exact date, but it's something I did not have in my archives because whatever I was able to save starts in 1997. So 1997 to 2010 I have. So here's a program that I did not have. So I watched it, then I came in touch with you and Priscilla, and here we are.
Here we are today, and it's so magical that way, and we have a long history in Greek American broadcasting, both in radio and in television, and a lot of that history isn't saved, and there's so many collections out there, private film and video collections, where people are just sitting and enjoying, but you have something planned for your archive, and but before we get to that, tell us about the program, Dimitri. Tell us of the man who started it and how you got involved.
Sure. Louis Vitalis. Louis Vitalis started the program in 1982. Louis is not with us anymore. He passed away at the age of 101 7 years ago. He really had a passion for Greece and helping the Greek community. I believe that he had a radio station in the late 40s.
Really?
In the area. I have to do a little more search and let you know about it. But then he started the Grecian Spotlight Greek TV program in 1982, and he was cooperating with Dr. Ernest Panos from Chicago. Dr. Panos had a program also called Grecian Spotlight prior to 1982. And he basically cooperated with Louis. He was sending his tapes to Louis here in the West Coast. And Louis was presenting the program through via KTSF Channel 26. So when I met him in, say, 1985, beginning of 1985, the program was already progressing, was 3 years old, and he asked me to come and volunteer as a host for the program for a few months.
Yeah.
And I said yes, and so many
From
years
there,
later,
from there you took it
yeah,
over. Now, did he have
yeah.
something to do with a Greek dance troupe? I heard him advertising dancing lessons for the youth.
Uh, yes, at some point, not the TV program, but people that cooperated with our program were helping young people learn how to dance.
Oh,
I remember a lady by the name of Anna Efstathiou that was very instrumental into teaching hundreds and hundreds of children and adults the Greek dancing. And Grecian Spotlight cooperated, worked with Anna in that respect.
and so Grecian Spotlight. So people that haven't seen Greek American television, there a lot of it has. It's a reflection of the community, and I remember there was a priest that was giving these messages, and when we were airing that Facebook Live video during that digitization, someone said, "Oh, that's the priest in San Francisco before the earthquake." And
Yes.
yeah, so you have seen your participation in the station then extended all across the community and from
Oh, yes.
organizations and yeah. But tell us, yeah, go ahead.
Absolutely, yes. Father Kostouros, I just want to mention, a wonderful priest that he's really remembered fondly and missed by our community here. He was a part of the program for a number of years, and he would present his message in English and Greek, like 3 minutes in English, 3 minutes in Greek, and he was so accurate in his timing, and he was so eloquent. He will be missed. So we had him for a few years, but also everybody in the Greek community was invited to participate.
Yes.
So we had this policy.
Was you yourself, were you involved in any organizations out there?
Yes, I was. I was a member of several organizations. In the beginning, in the late 80s, I remember we had many strong organizations, maybe 30 or 40, most of them originating from Peloponnesus. We had the Arcadians, the Messenians, the Corinthians, and also people from the islands, so the Cretans, the Macedonians. Yes, I was a member of the Epirotan organization, a member of the Cretan organization,
Oh,
Cephalonian organization.
yes.
They were all very well organized and active organizations under the umbrella of the United Hellenic American Society. But since then, I have to say, and it is sad that the strength of this organization has weakened, and the new generations are not as eager as the old guard to keep them active and have all the wonderful events that we used to experience.
You know, it's getting harder and harder for us as time goes on to try to explain that to this new generation. You can't
Mhm.
just say it. You have to, and that's why your videos, your program, will bring them back. And I think it's wonderful that you've started an archive, and that tell us now. Are you putting some of these things online?
Yes, first of all, it took me quite a bit of time to transfer those programs from 1997 to 2010 into different formats. We used to have those tapes, the huge tapes, 3/4 of an inch, and then we graduated to SVHS, and then we graduated to the small digital, and then to DVD. So I managed to keep those and transfer them to a more modern format. And I have them now on flash drives. And I have started the process of sharing those edited segments I'm trying not to just post the whole program, because with so many ads and the same information, I don't want to make it tiring to people who watch it. I'd rather select the edited segments. Every program, and by the way, the program was either half an hour or 1 hour through those years, and in there we had anywhere from 1 to 4 edited segments from anything you can imagine: food festivals, presentations, dinner dances, presentation of books, anything. So those edited segments, I'm trying to extract them from those programs and individually post them online on a YouTube channel. And that takes lots of time. I have already posted a dozen of them, but I I have about 1,000.
How can people find that channel, that space on YouTube?
It's called Greek TV Archives.
Okay.
And I think if somebody types it, they will be able to access them. And I would like to work a little closer with you,
Yes.
or anybody else who has an interest in preserving the Greek heritage, the visual Greek heritage of at least one segment of population in this country, the West Coast, and find a good and efficient way of quickly take those edited segments and post them so everybody can watch them. My goal is not to keep them in a closet. They belong to the community, and I want to do this as soon as possible, but I need some help.
Yes, you do. You know something, I'm glad to partner with you on this and try to find some students, because I think it's an excellent project, research project, someone who can help, and we can try to get that set up so that they can help you too to document those segments. That's so important. If, like you say, if people are going to find, they want the salient moments. Now, you have interviewed people in politics. You have interviewed popular culture figures. Who could just tell us, in your photo archive, I saw that you were interviewing Arianna Huffington, and
yes,
that's very interesting.
Yes.
So
that's one of the segments that was in 1994, I believe. But I do have a number of jewel segments, and if you allow me, I need to mention one that goes on top, and that is an interview, 2.5-hour exclusive interview with a legendary Greek American, the former mayor of San Francisco, George Christopher, Yorgos Christophilis.
That's amazing.
He's legendary because he did so many things for his community. He brought the Giants from New York to San Francisco. He was the man who did that.
Yes.
He was the man who welcomed foreign leaders like the president of France, the president of Russia in San Francisco, and he gave me all those stories having to do not only with the Greek community, but the larger American community in the Bay Area. So that's a great interview, and I have to post it so people can see it. It's broken into 3 segments. Just an example. And then I have a quick, not interview, but a greeting from the former king of Greece when he visited San Francisco, Constantine. He was the guest of George Christopher. And many Greek members of the parliament who visited the area, and singers, Haris Alexiou and other artists, and many local important people that we need to remember them, and those segments will give us this opportunity.
Yeah, they're snapshots of our history, And it's such a
Yes.
beautiful way for, especially for younger people, to immerse themselves. But they tell stories. Each segment now, because as we haven't really written or finished writing our Greek American heritage, our history
Hmm.
here in America,
Hmm.
these people and the issues that you interviewed them around too are all significant. What they
Hmm.
talked about, part of that history.
Yes.
So this is wonderful, Dimitri. And tell me, what do you feel that your program did for the community? We always say that it was the glue of the community, but it was something more than that. It gave them a voice,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm. Yes, you're right. In the first years, in the 80s, when the Greek television programs via satellite were not present at that time, we were providing the community with some news from Greece, even though the news were not that that fresh because the program was once a week only on Saturdays. We were giving them news from Greece, sports, political news, anything. Later on, when people had Alpha and Antenna and Mega, we did not have to do that. And we focused on community news, τα νέα της παροικίας. That was the main function, keeping our community connected through news as to what happened this past week. We had, a dinner dance of this organization. We had a visit from Greece. We had a book written by a Greek American. Here is a Greek festival, and 5 minutes from the young people dancing and everything. If I can make a parenthesis, open a parenthesis here, many people in their 50s right now would be able to see themselves dancing in a Greek festival when they were 10 or 15 years old.
Yes, that's great,
So,
isn't it? That's great. And
so we have so many segments of young people interacting that those adults that would be happy to see their youth
oh,
in our segments.
it's the history of our community. You have history
Yes.
of the organizations, of the fundraisers, the special events. I saw, I think,
Yes.
something for Greek Independence Day. That, and there are
Yeah,
scholars that
every
are
year. Yeah.
every year there was something like that. Now, did you have your own production team that went out and did filming, or did people submit videos?
Well, both. People submit videos, and I had a number of wonderful volunteers that was helping me to produce the program. Uh, Many people thought that that was my main occupation for years and years, and they thought I was making a load of money out of this. But the truth is that a small program, half an hour, 1 hour, there is no. I didn't have the opportunity to have a good income because there is a limited number of advertisements you can have. And I not only did not make money, but I was losing money. But I loved what I was doing, so it
Yeah.
didn't matter to me because I had a main occupation. I was in real estate,
Yes.
commercial real estate. I was making enough money to take care of my finances, and then the rest was just giving to the community, a labor of love. That's how I would call it. And I could not do it without the help of many, many volunteers. And I have to mention one name
Yes.
of a very good dear friend who helped me for all those years. His name is Elias Chiknis, who took care of presenting the social news and also athletic news from Greece. He had a Greek
Nice.
store in Daly City
Yeah.
near San Francisco. And now he's happily retired with his wife in Greece, and he's probably listening to our program today.
Oh,
So I
that's
want to thank
great.
all those volunteers. And Ilya, if you're listening, have a wonderful day, my friend, and a wonderful retired life in Greece.
That's so great. Dimitri, are there? Let's get back to the notion that maybe there are more tapes out there. How did these videos end up in collections unmarked and then donated to Greek Cultural Resources? Yet I know you mentioned people that worked with you. Maybe they have videos that they're and or maybe someone listening to the program may have some homemade videos of the Greek program, the Greek Spotlight TV program, or the Greek TV program in San Francisco in those years. So if you have any material, please be in touch so that we can connect that with the project.
Yes. Anything before 1997, we would really appreciate anybody who has a tape of the program, recorded tape, to let us know if it's valuable material. Why didn't we keep archives of years from 82 to 97?
I don't know.
Unfortunately, it was an issue with the cost of tapes, the 3/4-inch tapes. And Mr. Vitalis was using the old tapes, recycling them, basically. So he did not keep, unfortunately, copies. But later on, when I was in charge of the program, I just thought that it's very important to have records, and I'm so glad I made this decision, because now we have at least 13 out of all those years. We have saved them.
I'm curious, did you save any of your programming logs or your calendar books, and who can you is there any paper material you can refer to?
I think we may have some of those, but I have to do some research on my boxes.
Yeah, Dimitri, you just hit on a very important issue in this landscape, is that tapes were recorded over, and that includes the programs that came from Greece. A lot of times they were recorded over, so we're seeing copies here that where the masters are destroyed. But
Yes.
some of these copies exist on old reel-to-reel tape in various formats. So it's a very interesting thing that something could appear up in an archive here that could have an enormous historical significance for our Greek American history and our heritage here. So again,
You're right.
our guest this morning is Dimitri Carapanos. He is now on the West Coast, and where he is calling in, he was the producer of the Greek Spotlight TV program. It started in 1982. He took it over in 1985, and that was in San Francisco. And then it was later renamed Greek TV until the closing of the program in 2010. He has saved an archive of his programs after 1997. Just recently, some other earlier years have turned up, and we're putting the word out there. And so, Dimitri, so now, have you checked with any of the universities or any of the libraries around? Do they have any copies, or have you looked into that?
I don't think that anybody has any copies. I think I have the only copy, only selection, or only archive, visual archive of programs of that period.
Yeah. It's a problem, like I say, and this is why my nonprofit is here and I've taken in so many radio station collections, and also now television material, because there has to be. I know of 5 separate video and film archives by people like yourselves that produced programs for many years. And they just don't want to see the stuff end up in a basement, And I think eventually people will come around and start studying the material, and hopefully this is a good year for it. But
That's right. That's right. I don't want my archive to end up in a basement and lost.
no,
That's why I want to do it as soon as possible. I want to
yeah.
just share it with my community.
I was thinking back to the organizations as you were talking, because I was going to ask you what was where were people from, primarily out in San Francisco. But the more important question is, what other media was around in those years? You had the Hellenic Journal. Does that go that far back?
The Hellenic Journal started a little later. It started in the, I believe, mid-90s.
Okay.
It's still there. Once a month, it's the only newspaper that we have,
In print
and
or online?
it's in print.
Oh, wow.
In print,
Bravo.
but I also believe it's online as well.
Yeah.
And Francine Phillips was the editor. She did a fantastic job for many years.
Yeah.
I think she's still involved with it. And the other media we had, dating back also in the early 80s, it's still there. It's a program called Hellenic American Radio,
Yes.
and it was and is still produced by Mr. Savas Deligiorgis.
Yes.
Savas Deligiorgis,
Yeah.
a good friend who is now, 90 years old, but still active doing it. And I promise to connect you with him on one of these days.
On KEST
Uh,
FM, he had done a program.
I believe so. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, that's wonderful. So, whew, this is just.
But from what I remember, somebody tried to have a television program in Southern California. They tried for a few months, and then were not able to continue. I think the reason was you cannot really make money with a very small program, a weekly program. It's very hard, and many people were discouraged because of the financial burden. Same thing with radio.
Yeah.
Not too many people to support a program like this. In the East Coast, it's different. It's
Yeah.
a larger basis, more people that are willing to step in and support. And anyway,
were there any other newspapers? Was the California newspaper still around then? I can't remember actually.
yeah, probably up to the beginning of the 80s,
Yeah.
there was a newspaper called Nea California.
Ne, malisto.
And prior to that, there may have been a couple more. We need to do a little digging and find out. That shouldn't be too difficult. I have to contact my friend Elias Chiknis, who is more informed about the newspapers.
Yeah,
in
it's
the West Coast.
It's interesting because that Nea California and the California newspaper had ran for so many years, and fortunately a lot of it's on microfilm, but the microfilm never made it to the East Coast, and that just tells you that it's the state of Greek American studies, or as it's been, that microfilm wasn't duplicated and presented over here. But that's so.
But,
how were you getting your news then in those years? That you
well, yeah, just getting some newspapers from Greece. We had this Greek store that was receiving newspapers from Greece. Τα νέα, ελευθεροτυπία, καθημερινή. So we were basically reading, taking segments that would be of interest to the community and presenting them. The other way was telephone calls with some sources in Greece. And it was a short segment for the news, no more than 5 minutes. So it was easy to find enough news that the people here would find interesting to hear about.
Yeah, that's just, and I just want to again highlight for people that in your film archive that you have in those videos, there's a lot of political history. There's a lot of people who came up the ranks and Greek Americans that became there were prominent figures. And Art Agnos, I remember seeing, and I know that you know him. But I was so shocked, and the film footage was so interesting that you ended up broadcasting, and that was sort of behind the scenes. So just that clip alone, it's such a it's a thesavros, Dimitri. That's what it is.
Ακριβώς.
Really
Ακριβώς.
is.
I believe so. There are many segments like this. And, when the president of Greece, Kostis Stefanopoulos, visited the area, we had a short, not interview, but greeting to the community.
Yeah.
And as you said, Artagnos and other local political powers. I have an interview with Nana Mushuri, for example.
Oh, I saw your
When she,
picture that you sent. Thank you. That was
yeah,
beautiful.
when she came to perform in San Francisco,
Yeah.
we met and had a short interview with her.
Oh,
With Yanis, another opportunity with
yes.
quite a few. I cannot remember right now, but it's we have a little treasure
Yes, it's
that
really wonderful.
we
And
want to share.
those people are still alive. And Nana Muscuri, for example, I was supposed to interview her on this program, and I feel very bad that I guess I dropped the ball. I had too many things going on, but I'm sure they would be touched by receiving some of this material. But again, it's going to take time to document, to digitize, to carve up,
Yes,
clip out and to document. It's a labor of love, Dimitri, and I hope we find you students that can help or interested people, and maybe even some money, because you've taken on, a burden here, and it's a labor of love, isn't it?
it is. It is labor of love, and you, Meleti, understand that because you're also
Yeah.
doing a labor of love with everything you're doing.
Thank you.
And I want to thank you for that on behalf of the average Greek American in this country. And I'm ready and willing to work with you, and I will take any help you can give me into exposing, into bringing light to this collection I have, and sharing it with everybody who's interested to watch it.
Excellent, Dimitri. Thank you so much. I love your philosophy of this. That you want it to be available to people. You want them to, and I rejoice. I think it's incredible. I want to go back to Frosine for a minute, because some of our listeners here know Frosine Phillips. She did take over as the editor, I guess, for a while of the Hellenic Journal. But when I met her, she was also involved with the Elios Society. And there was
Yes.
a group that was modeled after, I found out, modeled after our very own Alpha Omega Council. And I just gave an address to them the other day on my birthday about how important it is that we preserve this Greek American heritage, how important that we step in right now with some urgency. Did you know Frosine's father, Pericles, by any chance?
Yes, yes. I have met Pericles just a couple of years before he passed away,
Oh,
and an amazing man who left a legacy in his community here with the dancing groups,
yes.
putting together shows. He was a journalist. He was doing the food section for a major newspaper, and then Frosine took over as a journalist, doing that, reviewing best places to eat and that. So Frosine is very well known. She's a wonderful person. She's an amazing singer.
Yes.
and,
Yeah, she's got a band, and yeah.
yes, she sings in a Greek band. She's a wonderful friend, and one of the very few people that have done so much for their community and the preservation of our heritage.
Oh, Dimitri, it's been so interesting speaking with you this morning, and I hope our listening audience is enjoyed the segment as well. I'm sure we'll hear from them, and that it inspires people to think about their Greek American heritage. While for so many years we've been focused on classical Greece, there's a lot more to the picture, and this history is what we need to share. This heritage, this exactly is what we need to be doing, Dimitri. And
Thank you so much for inviting me.
thank you.
Meleti.
It's been really, really special, and I want to continue the conversation.
Anytime.
Thank you.
Anytime.
Thank you. Have a good day, my friend.
Thank you. Ευχαριστώ πάρα πολύ. Καλή σας μέρα.
Kalimera. That was Dimitri Carapanos, the producer of the television program Grecian Spotlight TV and then Greek TV, KTSF, San Francisco. And he's got an archive, and you should be able to find some of those videos online. It's Mondays with Meleti, and your host Meleti Pouliopoulos here with you all morning.